Graceful. Okay, so without further ado, we'll be going to our final class for today, project management. This section in project management, we'll be talking about quality management. So permit me to share my screen while I tell us a bit about our next trainer. Can you hear me, please? Can anybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, like I said, we are moving into the final section of today, project management, and we'll be talking about quality management under this project management class. And our trainer for today is none other than the venerable Mr. Aziz Salisu. So Mr. Aziz Salisu is a seasoned consultant, business executive, and career advisor with expertise in business development, strategy, IT solution sourcing, and professional training. He specializes in cybersecurity, ERP systems, IT, GLC, governance risk and compliance, implementation and auditing. And he also helps organizations optimize operations and meet regulatory standards rather. Mr. Hafiz is highly skilled in business analysis in providing strategic insights that drive growth and operational efficiency. His proficiency in sales, digital marketing, and client relationship management, project management, IT, and JLC consulting makes him a trusted advisor in aligning business goals with evolving market trends. Well, I'm sure from this profile I just read, I'm sure that we are very, very lucky to have this man in class with us today. So let's give a round of applause as we welcome Mr. Hafiz Salisu to take us on quality management under project management. Welcome, Mr. Hafiz.
Hello, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. In fact, my heart was in my hands when you initially were mentioning my name. I said, "Hey, this one don't blow my name for me."
My
Anyways, but
apologies, my apologies.
I mean, that's just on a lighter note. That's just on a lighter note. Hello, everybody, and it's great to be here. It's my privilege to always be here to actually speak with different people on what I can share. And of course, I'm happy to be here. It's been an interesting class since 9:30 Nigerian time. I've been following all along. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I'm truly, truly delighted to also participate to discuss with us for, a few minutes, and then, we just wrap up for the day. Once again, my class, I try as much as possible for it to be very interactive so that I do not like it to be one-sided, so it doesn't look like somebody just press play on a radio tape. When you press play on a radio tape, it just keeps going on and on and on and on, so let's please try as much as possible for this class to be engaging, and let's make the best out of it. I am really hoping that my internet also doesn't doesn't give me the experience of every other person for today, so I'm really hoping that my internet doesn't try to start pushing me out or throwing me out or even lagging at some point. So please, if for any reason it lags or you can't hear me, you could just kindly bring my attention to it. And then, of course, we'll just have a beautiful one. So please permit me to share my screen if that's okay. And I'll be sharing shortly. So we'll start button now. Okay, give me a second. Let me just quickly put my phone on flight mode. Okay. Please let me know when you can see my screen. Okay. Please let me know once you can see my screen.
I can see your screen. Project management.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. So let me minimize this. Okay, where's my button? Okay. All right. Just give me a second, please. Okay, just so we are sure that everybody is in the class. I see a group of people. I see people in the what's it called now, in the room. But it's been quiet for the last hour. we didn't get to hear from people. So I want to confirm that we have Frank here, we have Benga here, we have Global, we have Isaac. So just put it in the chat room that I am here so that we're sure that we actually have people on the call and we don't have people who will say like ghosts who will actually just keep a screen on and of course they are not behind the devices. So please, if you're here, just put it in the chat room. I am here. Princess, I very much appreciate that. Oluwashina, please, I very much appreciate that. Steven too. Titilo, help me, please. William, I very much appreciate that. Um, Mba, I very much appreciate that. In fact, in other instances, what we do is that, would like to call names, and then you say check, if you're there, I'll just mention your name and you say check. But I mean, I don't think we have that time to do all of that. But I very much appreciate, if we get confirmation that people are actually here. That gives us some kind of comfort to know that people are listening, and of course people are also sharing, are also with you. Thank you very much. I already see people who are saying, yeah, good to hear from you too. I think that's Steven also. Anyways, let me not take so much of our time. All right, so yeah, let's just get into it. What we're discussing today, right? It's pretty much project management, and of course, this conversation had started for a few weeks now. A lot of people have actually come in to discuss one thing or the other around project management, and I'm very, very lucky to always be somebody who comes to speak after a business analysis class, because we always will say that for you to function effectively as a project manager, you actually also need to have some level of business analysis skill that would also help you excel in what you do. And like I said, this is a class that I started about 3-4 weeks ago. And of course, different experts have come to speak to us around different knowledge areas. So can anybody tell me on this call, how many knowledge areas in project management have we actually covered between when this course has started till date? How many knowledge areas have been covered? Also, can you mention those knowledge areas that have been covered? So yeah, let me go to the chat room. How many knowledge areas have been covered between when we started this project management course to date? And can you mention those knowledge areas as well? So it'd be great for me to hear from you. So put it in the chat room. I mean, I understand that there are certain people who maybe you probably might not be available for one day or the other, but whatever knowledge area was covered for when you are available, please, I'd like to see your feedback. So for people who are wondering what knowledge areas are, these are basically like segments around project management, that pretty much, you need to work with or you need to have proper understanding around those fields or those areas for you to excel in project management. Let me just give you a hint. One of the first one that was ever covered was scope integration management, and I think I handled that. But after that, so many other project management, what's it called now? Project management knowledge areas were covered, right? And now this is just literally meaning the topic that was discussed under project management. So just in case people are beginning to get lost and starting wondering what is this man talking about, so help me in the chat room. What project management knowledge areas were covered between when this course started and now, which is basically saying what topics, specific topic for each day was done between when this course started to date. Today, we're doing quality management, right? The first one that was done was integration management, which was what I did, right? It would be great for me to also hear what trainers discussed what. I mean, I'm already giving you too much hints now. Am I not? I'm already giving you too much hints. Thank you very much, Titi. Titi, Titi, I'm not sure. I'll call you Titi, please. I'm a Yoruba guy, but I'm very, very poor when it comes to pronouncing names. So thank you very much. Cost management. Yes, cost management. Any other person? What other knowledge area was covered? Cost management. Thank you, Steven. Thank you very much. Scope management, schedule. Are you sure we've done time management? I honestly do not know, but maybe maybe. All right, maybe. Thank you very much for that, though. Any other person? I know a lot of people have said, I'm here, I'm here. Now, we've asked question now. I'm here is, I'm not here anymore. So please put in the chat room, I'm here, I'm here. Benefit, I know you said I'm here. Millicent, I'm here. Oh. Okay. T Hills, I'm here. Oh. Elizabeth, I'm here. So let's show that we're here. What other area was covered between when this course was started and now? Today we're doing quality management. The first one that was done was integration management. Between then and now, yeah, thank you very much, Isaac. Yes, that first day was a general overview. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, T Hills. Thank you. Cost management, scope management. Absolutely. 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 Thank you very much. Thank you. I like to get feedback from other people too who claim they are here. Please, we want to see your feedback. We want to see your messages. We want to be sure and to validate that when you say you are here, you are actually here. So, but thank you very much to everybody who had contributed. So had risk management been done already? Are you serious? Has it been done already? Really? I mean, I might be wrong though. I might be wrong. All right. But thank you very much for your feedback. All right, so let's get into it, right? The reason why I actually brought that up was just to give you a background around what actually we're doing, so that you don't just think we're just talking about project management and everybody is just speaking about different things without a clear, what's it called now, a precise area that we are targeting. All right. So of course, the general concept was to talk about project management, but of course, in project management also there are concepts, there are knowledge areas, there are things that you also need to learn. There are also tools and techniques that you also need to learn, in project management, hence why we're also talking about business analysis for you to also sharpen those skills that you have also learned in project management. So the idea also was, after the general overview of project management, talking about what project management is, why it is important, why as at today, what people earn as project managers, and things like that. It was also imperative that the class was also broken down, into knowledge areas where different speakers will come speak about different things and how collectively those fields, or those what's it called now, those knowledge areas collectively form what project management is. Because your skill in all of those areas will help create who you are around project management. It will help you shaping how you are supposed to approach a couple of things around in project, all things in project management, really. We're not also saying that you need to be an expert in all of those areas, but it's good to have an idea, around those things, because nobody is expecting you to be an expert in cost management. As a project manager, it's good for you to have an idea around it, but nobody's expecting you to be an expert in cost. It's good for you to also be able to know how to plan and how to schedule certain things. Makes sense. As a project manager, it's also very good for you to be able to integrate all of those knowledge areas, the cost, the time, the resources, the scheduling, and planning, and all of those things, putting all of them together and harnessing them to be able to excel. Once again, I'm saying all of this to just give you a background around why we are doing what we are doing. Does that make sense? Right. And so today, of course, like I said, we're talking about project management and why it is important, and why this is actually a, what's it called now, a what's the word now, why this is actually a knowledge area around project management. So, but of course, as we discuss this, it will actually be great for us to also hear participant. Oh yeah, okay. Risk management had been done. Okay, interesting. Thank you very much, Adeyemi. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. All right, so like I was saying, I think it's also very, very important that we talk about how important this is, quality is, and why is quality something that we need to know in project management. Do we need to do projects without even validating if it is of quality? Do we need to do project without even having the intention to be able to ensure that what we're doing is of quality and it is of high standard? So some of the things we'll be talking about today includes, of course, the project quality management itself, why we need to plan quality management, or what plan quality management is, what planning of quality management is, what is the management of the quality itself and how to control quality. So please, let's dig in. Let's dive in. Like I said, this class is is going to be very interactive. I like classes to be very interactive. In fact, if you let me, I'll even prefer that we unmute our mics and we speak. But of course, that would make the whole thing uncontrollable, right? So we'll try to maintain using chat rooms and all of that. So when they say, I'm going to ask a question now, and I say, when people say quality, what comes to mind? What is that first thing that comes to your mind? When you say quality, or when somebody says quality, what comes to your mind? Does quality mean something of value, or does quality mean that something is expensive, or does quality mean something is of a different category? What does quality mean to you as a person? What does quality mean to you? How do you see quality? Is quality something you see with your eyes? Is quality a tangible or an intangible thing? What is quality to you? It would be very good to get feedback from. It would be very good to get feedback from people. What is it's quality a brand? Is quality a brand? Is quality associated to certain brands than others? So but what really is quality to you? Of course, you can use one word to explain that. There's really no right or wrong answer here. There's really no I know and pass kind of thing. Nobody's writing exams right now, so you can't say you're stealing somebody's shine. So just say what it means to you literally. So let me go to the chat room to see what's happening there. Okay. Thank you, Afari Amaka. Standard. Yeah. Isaac, authentic. Thank you. Authenticity. Nice. Value or standard. Thank you, Benga. Unique. Yeah. Millicent. Yeah. A good value. Nice. Thank you. Grade. In fact, I'm going to speak about that, Stephen. Thank you very much for that. Gabriel, good value and safety. Okay, I like that. Benefit, quality means standard. Nice. What is happening with that? So bright, come on. Value, original value. Thank you, Adebi. Thank you very much. Thank you. So yeah, everybody is spot on, right? When we say quality, right? Quality literally just means something that has actually, that so many things have been put in place to ensure that it reaches value or provides value. It just literally means, the degree of something to meet expectation or requirements where required. There's certain things that, sometimes some people produce certain things. It is what's it called now? It works, but so let me give an example. In the region where we are, right? So funny people will say they are manufacturing something. At the end of the day, whatever they've manufactured, it actually works. So it's not as if it's not working, But the question now is, if we say it works, does it really meet the need of what we expect it to meet? Does it actually provide that value for us? Is it durable? Is it something that has a lifespan that we will enjoy? Things like that. So for instance, now people will say, I went to buy a generator somewhere, and then after buying the generator for like a week or two, the generator is no longer generating. You get what I'm saying? So what really is quality? Quality is just, when you're able to say that something meets an expectation, when you're able to say that something is very durable, when you're able to say that, there's a standard to what something should actually be. What we've done has actually met and even supersede that standard that we've actually pegged it upon. So, and of course, like I said, this is not quality is not something. It's not something. It's not just a tangible thing. It's also very it's something of that is also intangible. Because quality can be associated to a product. It can actually be also associated to a service. Somebody can provide a service to you that is also of quality. Does that make sense? Somebody can also provide a product to you that is also of quality. So it can be tangible, it can be intangible, whatever it is. At the end of the day, also it is also very customer and user focused, because at the end of the day, you want the end user to be able to enjoy what the end product is. The end product could be a service. It could be a rental service. It could be what's it called now? A transportation service. It could be anything, literally. But the idea is, the end goal is for that. What's it called now? What's the word now? The end user to be able to get value at the end of the day. So let's now dive deeper into what project quality management now is. Now, since we already have a general overview of what quality is, right? We also understand what's it called now? Why it is important to have quality, why people actually adopt quality processes and all of those things. Now, let's relate this to a project. Remember that a project that it is undertaking, or whatever project that you're trying to execute, must actually also be of quality at the end of the day, because what's the essence of you undertaking a project and at the end of the day it is of low quality? Whatever project you're undertaking, whether it's as a service or as a product that you're planning to give out to the end user, at the end of the day there must be some kind of quality that is tied to it. So what we are trying to discuss today is, how do you imbibe quality in everything that you do as a project manager? How do you ensure that every step of the way, whatever you do, there's always a quality mindset that you've actually put into what you're doing? So that's pretty much what we are talking about today. As a project manager, it is literally very, very important that every step that you take in order to satisfy that client of yours, you put quality into it. It could be in the processes that you're undertaking. It could be in the product that you're putting together. It could be in the delivery in itself. Every step of the way, you need to be able to factor in quality in itself. And of course, quality has different. It has some processes. The project quality management has processes. It has a plan quality management in itself. It has the managed quality, and of course, the last is the control quality. Now, these processes are what actually puts quality management in project management context, right? Putting together these three elements will help you execute or help you imbibe quality in what you're doing. Now, like I said, the processes are three, right? First, you need to plan quality management. Secondly, you need to manage quality management. Thirdly, you need to control quality. And these are the areas that we will be talking about. Today. Now, let's talk about some of the things that are very, very essential for us to take into consideration when we're doing quality in everything that we do. Now, you will agree with me that, right, it is very, very expensive for your customer to realize that there's a defect in what you're doing or in what product you're providing to them. It will cost you 10 times more if your customer realizes that there's a defect in what you're doing than when you have internally recognized that defect. Does that make sense? Does that make sense for us? It is very, very risky for your business, for your customer to end up realizing that there's a defect in your product than when you realize that during the production process or during the what's it called now, the service process or whatever we'll call that. Because how would it how what would you now start to explain to your customer at the end of the day that, oh, there was a glitch somewhere, blah blah blah? Of course, there is brand reputation. There is would literally now mean that you need to even take that product back out of the market, because sometimes, remember that these issues that might arise if there's a defect, it might just not be one product defect. It might be a batch that might that might have that defect. Does that make sense? Right? Because there are certain instances where, for instance, now a certain drug manufacturing company produced a particular drug, and then they realized that in a particular batch of the drug that was sold in the market, there's a quantity of one what's it called now? There's a quantity of one component that was added in one of those batches that was even more than the rest, meaning that that extra quantity of one component that was added is harmful to the human body. Now, what do you think will happen to that company? Please tell me in the chat room. What do you think will happen to that company? Should that company just leave that product out in the market like that and say, okay, since it's just one batch and it's already out in the market, let's just leave it? What do you think will happen to that company? Please, I'd like to see your reactions in the chat room. What do you think will happen to that? What do you think will happen to that company? Should they just leave that product out in the market like that? What do you think will happen? Does it have a significant effect on that company? Do you think there is going to be a repercussion of whatever they are doing? Excuse me. Do you think there will be a repercussion to that organization? What do you think the harmful effect will be? to the end consumers at the end of the day, or the end users, there's going to be an issue. But if it's something that, thank you very much, Gabriel, they will lose customers, obviously. They will, because if, for instance, God forbid, right, whatever content the end user consumes makes whatever content that end user consumes is fatal, right? And it happens that it's something that if you take it within a few minutes or within few hours or maybe within a week, because of the consumption, it makes people die, things like that. What do you think will happen to that company? So it's a huge issue that it is very, very important that all checks are put in place, to ensure that you provide the right quality, you provide the right services, you provide everything properly as it should be. Please give me a second. Let me just quickly do something. Please give me a second. All right, I'm back. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, so like I was saying, thank you very much, Stephen. Of course, definitely impact negatively on the company. Lose customer base, lose customer trust. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see who else comment is there. Bolarin, thank you. Company will lose value. Of course. I mean, it's not even something that we need to debate. They will lose customer trust, obviously. Nobody will want to go there again. Are there examples of some of those organizations that have put some things in a defect, that have supplied things that have defect and has cost them greatly, and you think they are still suffering things like that till date? Are there examples of some of those products till today? Are there examples at all? Is there any product that will say had this huge blow and is currently affecting their business as we speak? I can't think of any though. I can't think of any, but I know usually some of these things have, repercussions. And, once you're not able to put those things in place, it will obviously affect your growth. And I'll tell you what, this happens to mostly manufacturing companies, isn't it? Especially consumable products. If some of these things are not actually properly checked, I can't think of any right now, but if some of those things are not properly checked, I'm telling you, trust me, you will lose customers like something. I mean, we will just wake up one day and everybody's not even buying your product. You just have stock, you just have a store somewhere and nobody's even coming close to you. But let's not deviate too much, But if you can think of any example of some of those products, please put it in the chat room. I would like to see that. So it's very, very important that, you really cannot you really do not want to wait until customers realize that there's a defect in your product, and you do not you now start to recall those products back, and then you now start to do damage control. Then you now start to position your company in a way that it covers for the thing that has happened before. It just doesn't make sense. It makes sense that you do what is right, ensuring that there's a proper check in every step of the production process, so that till the end you ensure that all the checks have been checked. You ensure that all the tests that is required to be done on each of those products has been done. And funny thing is, this is not just tied to product though. I keep saying it, including services. How do you get feedback from people? You send feedback forms, you send this and that, try to get share questionnaires, so that you are always getting feedback, and then you're also trying to ensure that all the services that you're delivering, is of top quality, and things like that. Also, nobody also wants to be in a situation where your process is being questioned. Your approach towards production is also being questioned. Nobody also wants to be in a situation like that. So it is also very, very it is also always encouraged, that you ensure that quality assurance is always something that you take into consideration. You try as much as possible to ensure that all of those defects that are noticed during production process are quickly controlled, are quickly what's it called now? Recreated where required, or even removed, and also try a way to fix it even before it goes out, it goes public at the end of the day. So these are some of the things that it's very, very important that as project managers, if you are on the scene, if you are what's it called now, if you are monitoring or if you are project managing a particular production process, try as much as possible to ensure that you don't put yourself in a position where you start to try to retract on what you've done, or you try to see how you want to fix the damage that you've done before. Nobody wants to ever be in a position like that. Oh, sorry, excuse me. So I don't know why this is blocking my screen. Please give me a second. How do I move? Oh, I think I've moved it. Sorry, excuse me. Something blocking my screen. Give me a second. I should have it now. Okay. All right. So yeah, some of the things that also are trends and emerging practices in project quality management is first, customer satisfaction. Customer is king, isn't it? Customer is king, customer is queen, right? You always want to see how you want to satisfy your customer at the end of the day. Back in the days when we were doing is it economics now or commerce? I can't remember. They used to teach us then that even if you provide services to your customers, you will always provide things like after sales service, right? You still remember that you need to provide things like after sales services so that you ensure that all of the process that you've done, all of the things that you've put in place, you still provide a service to the client customer even after you've completed what you're supposed to actually do. This after sales service is just something that you're doing, just to fully even solidify what you've done, put the customer at ease, make sure that the customer is very, very happy with what you have done. So at the end of the day, the main thing is you want to ensure that your customers are satisfied. You want to ensure that you've met their expectation and you've even exceeded what they were expecting in terms of what they wanted to see. It's also very, very important that as a project person, you need to also very, very consider a lot of continual improvement. You need to always consider how to continually improve. The idea now around quality now is that even if you think you're having everything 100%, like you have a production company and you're producing certain things, and your company now is a global product, everybody knows about your product, everybody's buying here and there, everybody's enjoying it. It doesn't stop there, my brother, my sister. It doesn't stop there. You need to always constantly think about how to improve. And that's the idea of quality. There's actually a standard called ISO 9001. And I think during the course of this training, you must have gone through ISO 9001. If you've not done that, I'm sure it's something that you obviously will touch around too. So 9001 pretty much talks about quality, talks about why you should take quality management serious, why you should imbibe quality in everything that you do, whether it's a product that you're offering, whether it's a service that you're offering. Try to imbibe quality in everything that you do. And of course, in quality management system, that's something that is also very, very important around continual management. They call it a continual improvement plan. After implementing quality management system as a standard, there's something called a continual improvement plan that you must have. Something that clearly defines how you want to constantly improve on the product or on the services that you offer. It is very, very inappropriate if you as an organization does not have a continual improvement plan. It doesn't make sense. It is not even allowed at all. So even as a project manager, it's also very, very important that what, as you're executing project or as you're executing a particular project, even if the project is currently doing well, it's superseding the expectation of stakeholders and everybody, it is important that you constantly think about how to improve. If I've done this well, how do you think I can improve on it next time? If I've done this well, how do you think I can, ensure that I move ahead, I climb the ladder even higher, and things like that. So it's very, very important that, we put some of these things into consideration. Also, management responsibility is also very, very important. These things are not just tied to the project manager. It's not just tied to the project alone. It's not just tied to the project team. The management are also very, very responsible, because at the end of the day, why would the project manager just be carrying these things on his head and he's not having a proper support from the management themselves? So for instance, now project manager comes to management and say, you know what, this thing is going well, but I suspect that, there is a tool that we could use that will help us ensure that, this thing, even breaks the market even more. We can even get market share if we have this tool, something that we believe that, will even be higher than what we have, and things like that. As far as maybe the management might not even think about it very, very seriously. They might not even take it seriously, but at the end of the day, their commitment towards what this person is doing is very, very important. If they can support him towards the execution of whatever he has planned, makes sense, because of course, at the end of the day, it's for the betterment of the organization itself. In certain instances, it could be the project manager reporting a particular issue that he has or a challenge that he has, and management are not showing commitment towards helping solving that problem. What do you think will leave that manager to? He becomes helpless around things like that, trying to figure it out himself. And of course, it just frustrates the entire process at the end of the day. So these are some of the things that we're saying are practices in management, project quality management, that people need to put into consideration. Of course, you also need to manage and think about mutual beneficial partnership with your customers or with your suppliers. You want to ensure that you are in a very, very good relationship with your suppliers, so that once there's a, what's it called now, there's a breach or there's a defect in what they've supplied, you can always go back to say, okay, what, there's an issue here, things like that. You also want to ensure that that partnership that you have with these suppliers, they don't put you in a position where at the end of the day you produce something that your customers at the end of the day will suffer for it at the end of the day, because once they suffer for it, it hugely affects your own business. Nobody wants to know where you got some of those products from. Nobody wants to know where you got your raw materials from. At the end of the day, it is the finished product that your customers got from you that would refer people to you if it goes well or not. So I think it's very, very important that some of these things are put into consideration as project manager, so that you don't just operate and say you're an excellent project manager, and some of these things you're not putting them into consideration. So please, I beg of you, have some of these things at the back of your mind, so that you know that this isn't something that you just joke with as a project manager. Now, let me give you an instance, right? Remember that I was saying that this project quality management has different components. And I was saying that the first component is the plan quality management. Let me take you back to it. The plan quality management, the manage quality, and of course, then this control quality. Now, let me give you an instance, right? The plan quality management literally talks about how you're able to put certain plans in place so that whatever you're producing, the sense of quality is in it, or the consciousness about quality is in it. So for instance, now, if you want to buy something, or if you want to produce something, let's take that. If you want to produce something, you're thinking about what are the things that you put into consideration, what are the components that you will buy or you will put, so that whatever you are producing at the end of the day will come out genuine, will come out in a very, very good form, will come out in a way that you will also enjoy it. It will also come out in a way that the client or the customer at the end of the day will see value from it. Now, that's what plan quality management is talking about. The managed quality management now is talking about, some people call it even quality assurance, right? People call managed quality management as quality assurance in a way. This just literally talks about how you are ensuring that the plan that you have put in place and the execution that has followed it, the execution also does not have any what's it called now? The execution also the execution itself does not have anything that would affect the successful completion of the plan that has been put in place. I hope I'm not losing you. Planning is talking about you putting certain things in place, the activities, the component that you need to get. The quality assurance partner is just ensuring that whatever activities that is currently happening, you are ensuring that there is no defect, there is nothing that is likely to affect that activity for it not to turn out well. You get where I'm going now? Ensuring that there is nothing that will be done that will affect what you have put in place for it not to come out well. Now, quality control in this instance, or controlling quality, now means that you are also ensuring that defects are minimized to the barest minimum. And if, for instance, there is any defect before it goes out, you are able to ensure that you put corrective mechanisms in place. You're ensuring that you put checks in place so that even if there's a deviation, you are able to correct some of those deviations. Now, as I said, we are going to break down each of these components. We're also going to look at each of these processes and how they play out. Now, the plant quality management system, which what am I saying, management system? The plant quality management in itself, right, which is the initial stage of the entire process of ensuring that quality is imbibed in everything that you do. Really talks about how you're putting a lot of things in place. First, you need to put a plan in place, right? You need to ensure that there's a plan around what I want to do. You've already conceptualized what you want to do as a company or as a project manager. You've conceptualized what you want to do. You've also thought about what the end goal is for the client or for the customer or for whoever. You've also put in place what are the components that will ensure the successful execution of what I have put in place as a plan. You put all of those things in place. What are the actual resources that excuse me? What are the actual resources that I will put in place that will help me execute these things? Now let's look at this breakdown, right? Look at this breakdown. Now you see the input, there's the tools and techniques, there's the output. Now the input are literally some of the things that you will put into consideration. The tools are some of the mechanisms that you would use, right? And output are what I would call the end result of this entire plant quality process. Are we there? The plant quality process has its own components too. It has the input, it has the tools and techniques, it also has output. Now, these entire three things are a combination of what I have just explained. You need to put a lot of things into place. You need to put proper plans into place. You need to put enough things around what are the components required for you to execute something. What are the some of the factors that might affect the successful execution of this plan that you've actually conceptualized. How will it affect your organization? Blah blah blah, things like that. Also, some of the tools that will also help you need to have expert judgment. You need to ensure that people who are within that team are people who are knowledgeable around these things, people who actually have the idea around what it is you're trying to do. Because it will be very, very weird that you say you want to do something and you're bringing people who have no idea around what exactly you want to do. How do you think you want to succeed, brother and sister? How do you think you want to succeed? You never will see you never will see that thing come to light. Because at the end of the day, you want to see that this whole thing, materializes and pounds out well. The output literally is saying that what the entire thing that we've put into place, this is a proper quality management plan that will speak to it. These are some of the metrics that have been put in place. This is how this thing will be undertaken. These are the risks that will affect it. These are some of the things that will turn out after the successfully execution of the activities that have been captured. Let me give you a quick story around, or let me just give you a quick example around this plan quality management. Let's say, for instance, now I have what's it called now? I'm in a logistic company, right? I have a logistic company, and somebody has told me that they want to hire my organization to produce bikes for them, to give them bikes. Let me not say produce, since I'm in a logistic company, right? They want to hire bikes from me that will help them in the delivery of food. Say, for instance, these people who do fast food, and they need people who need to take certain food items from one place to another. Now, one of the things that I'm going to think about, right, is, let's say the typical location is maybe Nigeria or something. One of the things I'm going to think about is, okay, how do I ensure that I have, let's say their preference is they just want bikes, they want bikes that can move around, things like that. I start to think about, how do I ensure that, I put these things in place? What are the type of bikes that will be used? If it's a very, very local area, what are the kind of bikes that would use? The bikes will have what kind of tires? We need to also factor that Nigeria is also a place where, the roads are not exactly good. So you need to put certain things in place around quality of the tires, quality of the machines itself, things like that. So there are so many things that I need to put in place. That is just a typical example of how to think about, the delivery of a particular item for the client or for the customer at the end of the day. So this plan quality is just literally talking about that, how to ensure that proper plans are put in place that would help achieve the end goal that we have in mind, right? So please, let's have that at the back of our minds. So just as I was explaining, the plan quality has so many inputs. It also has the expected output, which is the project plan and management plan itself, ensuring that you have proper documents that you can reference around some of these things. And like I said, the inputs include properly drafting the plan itself, ensuring that you have proper requirements that have been captured for you to execute what you actually have in mind. Now let's talk about the managed quality in itself. Now, the managed quality is the second component. After you've planned, you've put things in place, you've identified who are your experts, you've identified what are the resources required, you've identified what are the things that would help me ensure that I put this into success. The managed quality now means that, when the process has started, once the execution has started of the product that you're doing or of the service that you're rendering, well, how do I ensure that there is no defect? How do I ensure that I make sure that the final end product does not come out and how do I say it now? The final product meets the expectation exactly. How do I ensure that whatever comes out is not of a minimal standard? How do I ensure that whatever I do, people accept it and value it? You don't want to be in a position where, it looks like you have just wasted money, you've just wasted everybody's time, you've just done nonsense, So this particular component literally just talks about how do I manage this thing? How do I ensure that, the proper things are put in place? Let me give you a typical example too in this instance. Let's say, for instance, now I am a web developer. I've been tasked to be able to develop a website for somebody. And I have done all of things that are required. I've, put things in place. I've gathered the requirements from the clients. I've gathered the information. I've put those things on the web, and things like that. And then call somebody. I then tell the person that, okay, you know what? I've put this website together, but I also do not want to just give it to the clients themselves. Please help me look at it. Ensure that, give me an objective overview of what have been put in place. This is just you ensuring that you are putting an extra measure around ensuring that what you have done actually meets the expectation. You're just ensuring that you've actually looked at what you have done, and then you're just making sure that you don't want to leave any stone unturned. I'm giving you an example in a service. In a production instance too, you will actually make sure that, okay, every step or every stage of production process, you call somebody to say, okay, you know what, we're done with this stage, test it. We're done with stage 2, test it. We're done with stage 3, test it. Does it meet the requirement? Does it actually achieve what we want? Does that make sense? Now, that's pretty much what the managed quality is talking about. And of course, it also has its inputs, tools, techniques, and also output. Inputs are generally some of things that you actually would put in place to ensure that you're currently looking at that system, you're looking at that process, you're looking at that service that you're doing, and you then use several techniques, gathering data, proper analysis of whatever you're looking at, ensuring that you take the right decisions around these things. It's pretty important that you put some of these things into consideration. Once again, this is a process, right? There is the planning, there's the managing itself, and of course, at the end of the day, once you finish managing and ensuring that there is no defect, some of the last things that you come to is to ensuring that you put proper control measures in some of those things while you're doing so. So, like I said, input, tools and techniques, and of course, output. Tools and techniques, so many tools and techniques are required. And once again, this is where your knowledge around business analysis, will help you greatly. I was mentioning earlier that, one of the things that is very, very important for you as a student in this course is for you to properly grasp your knowledge around business analysis, because it is in business analysis that you will learn things around, what's it called now? The use of mind maps, the use of certain tools that would also help you in the proper execution of some of these things, how to properly, graphically represent certain things, how to, generate the root cause analysis of certain things, things like that. That will help you. That will help you greatly. And at the end of the day, you want to have quality reports. You want to ensure that the test that you have done actually matches what the expectations are. You want to ensure that, everything has actually been put in place, based on the plan that has been identified. Once again, this is just also a graphical representation to show you the process, to show you how the inputs that has been put together and also the output that comes with. I'm very conscious of time because I realize, I have just about 10 minutes. I have just about 10 minutes to go. Now, let's talk about the control part, which is the last part of the process in itself. Once you're able to plan, once you're able to manage, the last thing you want to do is to ensure that you properly look inwards and ensure that before you finally hand over to the client, to the customer, or to the stakeholder at the end of the day, you make sure that all of the control measures have actually been put in place. Control literally is just talking about how you want to monitor and record the results after the execution of the activities that you've put in place. How do you ensure that the things that you've done actually meet the expectation of your customers? If it doesn't, this is the stage where you need to look inwards to correct those things. Because if it doesn't rather, and you allow it past that stage and you hand over to your customer or to your client, whoever that person might be, it is going to be disastrous to you and your organization. Literally, it will be disastrous. Let's say, for instance, now I've been hired to come and install solar panels, right? I've been hired to come and install solar panels. I did the installation successfully, and then before I now called the owner, the what's it called now, the person who contracted that thing to me. Before I called the person, I'll say, okay, you know what? Let me look inwards. Let's look at the things that we've installed. Is there any screw that we forgot to put together? Is there any panel that is having a crack that might affect the supply of electricity? Is there any wiring that we didn't put in place properly, that we didn't cover properly, that might pose a risk on the thing that we've done? This is a proper control process, control measure. I will then say, okay, you know what, Zuberu or somebody that will call and say, bring a list of some of the things that we will check to say that, you know what, let's check this list to say, out of these 15, 20 things that are a standard process around how we install panels, let's tick each of them to confirm that we've done it. First, let's tick the solar panel laying. Did we lay it well? Let's look at it. Let's check. Oh yeah, we laid it well. It's sitting properly. It's not going to affect anybody. But tick it. Let's look at the wiring also. Did we put it in the wiring well? Look at the rooms. How was it put across? All of those things are, proper control measures that you need to put in place so that at the end of the day, nobody will call you to say, Mr. Man, the work that you said you did, come and see, it has electrocuted my dog, or it has electrocuted somebody or something. So these are some of the things that we need to put into consideration so that we don't want to be in a position where we spend more, rather than ensuring that we factor those things while doing those things or while executing the activities that are actually have been clearly defined. How do we ensure that we don't put ourselves in a position where we close shop, because of litigation, because of certain things that are actually, you can actually, what's the word now? You can actually move away from. You can actually mitigate those things. How do you ensure that you solve those problems even before they arise? It is very, very important, my brothers, my sisters. And of course, just like all the two other processes, it also has its input, the techniques, and of course the output. Of course, the input, of course, is what's it called now? Some of the outputs that you've gotten from the other processes, and then ensuring that proper checklists are done using so many tools and techniques, ensuring that you do a proper analysis of the things or the data that you've also gathered, ensuring that you do proper testing, at every stage in time, ensuring that you also meet with everybody to say, okay, you know what, let's confirm all of these things have been put in place. And at the end of the day, you have a proper quality product that you've actually put together out there. It could be a product, it could be a service. Once again, it is not tangible, it is not compulsorily tangible or intangible. So these are some of the things that, as project managers, we need to be very, very conscious around. Of course, this is also a graphical representation to show you how some of the input, transform into output. Of course, input like the project management plan, the project documents, the integrated control, change control, some of the things that might affect your organization, all of those things put in place. And then, of course, at the end of the day, you ensure that you have proper scope you have proper product and services that are out there to satisfy the need and the expectation of your customers. Some of the things that I think is also very important for us to talk about is to talk about quality and grade. I would not want to share this screen so that people do not see it. What would you call the difference between quality and grade? What would you say is the difference between something is of quality and something is of grade? What would you say is the difference between when somebody says something is of quality and something is of grade? What is the difference between quality and grade? Yeah, I think that's a better way to put it. What do you think is the difference between quality and grade? This is something grade 1, grade 2. You know how people used to buy clothes at which market now? How they call it now? Is it Alaba market or they call it things? Excuse me. What's the difference between quality and grade? Okay, let me go to the chat room. Thank you, Gabriel. Yeah, they will lose customers. Yeah. There was a case in 2006 with NBC. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Steven. Yeah, I couldn't remember one anymore. Okay, sorry, benefit. I think that was when maybe when I went off a bit. See now. Okay. Okay. Standard and measures. Bolarin, are you talking about quality and grade now? What do you think is the difference between quality and grade? Why can't I like that? Why can't I like that? Any other person? What's the difference between quality and grade? Quality is equivalent to standard, while grade is measures. Not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Actually, you're a bit correct. Right. The quality really talks about, how something meets the expectation of customers. At the end of the day, you want to make sure that, what you have done meets the expectation of everybody. Grade might be similar, but it doesn't necessarily meet quality. Grade is just a level of sophistication, just like it's here. It's just something that there's a level to each of those things. Quality is saying that there is an expectation, there is what the expectation of a particular product should be. Internationally, it could be maybe on a local level what the expectation is, on an international level what the expectation is. Grade, on the other hand, is a level of sophistication. So for instance, now the component in the product of grade A might not be the component in the production of grade B. Does that make sense? The component in the production of grade B might not necessarily be the component in the production of grade C. Does that make sense? So you find out that certain instances that there's a product, right? Product, very, very similar. They have very, very close similarity by the same production company. But you realize that the components used in the production of A, you'll find some of those components in A, but it's not in B. You also find that same company produce a product with very, very same similarity. Let's say the product name is ABC. Oh, no, ABC is not. No. Let's say the name of the product is XYZ. But XYZ has grade A, has grade B, has grade C. Some of the components in grade A, you will not find it in grade B. The component in grade B, you will not find in grade C. So these are just to tell you that, quality is just an overall one to say, okay, you know what, something works and it actually meets the expectation. Now, something works sometimes does not necessarily mean that it meets expectation. Are you there? Are you there? It is working does not mean that it is actually meeting expectation. Expectation of people is that I want this generator to work 10 hours non-stop. Generator worked. You on it. You on. Abi? Generator off 2 hours later. It worked though. Didn't it work? But did it meet expectation? No, it did not. Do you understand? So that's the difference. About that's what quality literally means. That something needs to be fit for purpose, right? It needs to be fit for purpose. It also needs to meet the expectation of what it is meant for. Fit for use, fit for purpose, right? That's what it is. Grade is just something that puts something on a certain level to say, okay, there is a clear distinction from you could choose to do grade A, grade B, grade C, depending on your finances. I used to remember when people used to say that people used to go to China to buy different products, and they will tell the Chinese people that we are Nigerians. Please give us this product, but we want grade Z, or we want grade H. Because Chinese have produced maybe grade A, and everybody's buying grade A because, of course, it is the highest grade. It meets standard specification and all of that. But Nigerians want something that will work, but not necessarily meet expectations. But I noticed that time is fast spent. We've talked about continuous improvement. We've talked about how important it is, even in quality management system, even in ISO 9001. I was mentioning that why you need to also not make sure that you're not just stopping at it is good, but how do you constantly ensure that you're evolving, you're constantly making changes, things like that. Also, there's a concept of cost of quality, which is also very, very important. That you need to be conscious around cost of quality. If it means you spending more to ensure that you have proper things in place, please do so, so that you meet the expectation of everybody. It will cost you more when you don't put those things in consideration, rather than when you're constantly thinking about those things during production. Of course, prevention cost to prevent defects. In order to prevent defects, it makes sense for you to ensure that your staff are properly trained. You're constantly reminding people around what quality is, why it is important. And that's why, as an organization, the organization I work for, we always will implement things around quality management system for people. We always tell people that quality is not just meant to just one department. Quality is everybody. Quality is your security people. Quality is your admin persons. Quality is your superiors. Quality is everybody. Everybody needs to be aware aware of what quality means, why it is important, why we need to put those things in place. Of course, appraisal cost is also another concept where we need to also measure, and monitor what quality services or quality product that have been put in place. Failure cost is something that we do not want. None of us want that, because of course, once you do that, then of course it affects your business, it affects your organization, and puts your organization in a bad light. And of course, there are certain industry specific considerations that we need to also have. So for instance, now we've talked about how this can affect, let's say for instance, we've talked about how it can affect people within the what's it called now. I made an instance around people within the logistic industry. I've made instances around people who do provide services. We've made instances around manufacturing companies, all of those things. So irrespective of what organization you are in, irrespective of whatever you do as an organization, as a person, irrespective of whatever project you work on, it is important that you've put quality into consideration, because of course, if you do not do so, it's going to be something that will significantly affect you as a person, affect your brand as an organization, affect you as a project manager. So ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much what project quality management is, why it is important, how it affects your own company. Quality is key. Always ensure that is also your your motto in everything that you do as a person or as an organization as it is. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. At this point, I very much appreciate if you have questions, if you have concerns, if there is any area you need clarity on, I'm happy to provide that. So let me go back to the chat room. Questions, concerns, I'm happy to take them. All right, so let me go to the chat room. Okay. All right, so let's see. Quality refers to overall excellence. Thank you very much, Steven. Thank you. Thank you. But in the market, they refer to greater. Well, I mean, yes. Who was that again? Tehills. Yes, I mean, in the Nigerian context, everybody calls great quality. But of course, you from here now, you've realized there's the distinction around it. The quality is just a general, what's it called now? A bigger pocket, which also compares things to international standard. Grade is is an internal thing for a particular company for what they are producing, and what they are producing is just to categorize things. The category of those things is just also for you to make informed decisions on what you want to do. So I hope that that makes sense. Quality here is attributed to what could be exceed. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Grade is a level of quality. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. I don't see any questions for me, but if you have any questions, please do not hesitate. You can
Are
unmute your
there
mic.
any questions? Thank you very
Happy
much.
to
Thank you. That was hot as usual and fire as usual. Thank you very much, Mr. Hafiz. I'm scared to call your name because I don't want to murder you this time around.
I mean, you have the permission to murder if you want to.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Please let's give Mr. Hafiz a round of applause. Are there any questions, please, for our trainer? Please, let's take this opportunity. This man is a very intelligent and brilliant man. Let's ask him
Fine.
questions before he goes. Please, let's take this opportunity and ask this man questions before he leaves us. Any questions, please? Okay, Sam. It seems there are no questions. It seems you did such a great job that there are no questions at the moment. Thank you once again for your time. We really appreciate you that anytime we call on you, you answer us. We're very grateful. Thank you very much. Please enjoy the rest of your weekend, sir.
Thank you very much, everybody. Have a nice one. Bye for now. Cheers.
Okay, so everybody, I hope you have filled the attendance. I saw somebody asking for the attendance in the chat box. So hold on while I share the attendance with us. Please let's make sure we fill the attendance before we sign off the call. Okay, I've sent the attendance to the group chat, chat. Yes, please let's ensure we fill it before we sign off the call. Thank you very much for coming to class today. We're going to see you in class next week, Saturday. And of course, the training materials, the training slides, and the video recordings on YouTube will be shared during the course of the week. Thank you very much and see you next week, Saturday.